When help can hurt. One morning, a raccoon called Sim got out of bed with the desire to do something good for his friends. Lots of ideas swarmed in his head about who and what he could offer. The first person he thought of was a badger called Black. So, thoughtfully reasoned Sim, how can I help Black? Well, he said he was going to take the medicine to his sick aunt. I'm able to do it in his place, cheered Sim, and he quickly ate his breakfast and ran to the badger. Black had already left the house and was heading for the field, behind which lived his aunt, when Sim went ahead of him and offered, "Let me deliver the medicine instead of you. Then you can stay and play football with friends." "Thanks, Sim," responded the badger, embarrassed by the unexpected proposal, "but I have to do it myself. You see, my aunt lives alone, and I promised to visit her," explained Black. The raccoon became upset, because things didn't happen in the way he wanted, but his mood soon changed, as he came up with another idea. He remembered that the rabbit Dan often forgot to water carrots that grew in the backyard of his house, and decided to help his friend with watering. On the way to the rabbit, a strong wind with the rain ran into Sim, and before he could have reached the backyard, the carrots had already been watered. The raccoon almost wept with disappointment that his plan had failed again, but the desire to help someone was so great that he turned on the tap and began to pour water on the carrots. Fortunately, the rabbit Dan looked out of the window and saw Sim during the act. Dan jumped out of the window and within a few seconds turned off the tap and shouted, "What are you doing, Sim? Why are you spoiling my carrots? Can't you see they've already been watered by the rain?" "I'm sorry, my friend," said Sim, excusing himself. "I didn't want to hurt you. I wanted to help." "Okay," said Dan, calming himself down. "It's good that this time nothing bad happened. Promise that next time you'll help me only when I ask." "I promise," agreed the raccoon, and off he went. Sim was about to go home when he heard someone from the forest was calling for help. Sim ran into the forest to see who was in peril. The call for help was getting louder and louder, and soon the raccoon saw a beaver on the bank of a river. The beaver was trying to get his tail out from under a stone. Sim tried to move the stone to the side, but could not, because the stone was heavy. And then he had a bright idea. The raccoon found a long and firm stick and pushed one of its ends under the stone. Then he placed a small stone under the stick and hung on its other end. Thus, Sim moved the stone and released the tail of the beaver. Fortunately, the beaver was not hurt much, but was still very frightened by this incident. "The stone broke away from the mountain and rolled down into the river right onto me. I'm lucky that you were near and came and helped me. Thank you," said the grateful beaver. "It's my pleasure. My name's Sim, and what's yours?" asked the raccoon, and stretched out his paw to the beaver. "I'm Reeve," happily exclaimed the beaver, and shook the raccoon's paw. After this incident, Sim decided to become a rescuer. Since then, a few years have passed. Sim has a lot of friends now, and there are some of them who once asked him for help, and whose lives he saved.